to the GoTeez Sportspage, coming to you live from the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville at 92.5 FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner. I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Maryville Times sports reporter Caleb Jarreau. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Ierulli will make his GoTeez Sportspage debut for the new season. Tennessee goes after win number 2 against East Tennessee State, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school football scores involving Blount County teams and will follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Jarreau will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Maryville Christian Athletics will be on the agenda along with Heritage Girls Soccer. I'll talk some UT football and discuss the latest Tennessee sports news. Our panel will look at today's top college football games across the country, and we'll look back at last weekend's top contest. The letter rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning to everybody. Yeah, Tony, good to see you back.
Brown, smart, intelligent people, man, alive. Man, what a great day.
And a 2-0 start up there at Mossy Creek. Huh?
That's right. Us Baptists up there up at Mossy Creek, we're doing pretty good. Good start. We beat South Carolina Central Christians, so the Baptists beat the Christians.
There you go.
Had a good win.
And on a Thursday night.
On a Thursday night.
How do you like those Thursday night games?
Oh, it was a long day and late night and all that, but it was good. It was good that we played on Thursday and have a Saturday off so I can hang out with the guys here today. So appreciate you having me.
I got good pictures of you.
You do you?
Yeah. One of the former reporters at the Daily Times, Leslie Bell Sherrod, bought the Jefferson Standard banner a couple months ago.
Okay.
She was in one of the presidential suites you all have there, and I got a great picture of the back of your head on the sideline.
Oh, there. And that's probably my best shot of the day.
There you go. Caleb Jarreau, good to see you this morning.
Appreciate it. Obviously, same as Marcus, late night with some high school football, but no complaints here.
Yeah.
Always fun to spend a Saturday morning in downtown Maryville.
Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, thanks for covering for me last week. And I had a great week. I had a great time down in Nashville. I guess it's really not Nashville. It's closer to Murfreesboro, the racetrack. But I was down for the IndyCar race there, the final race of the season. And I thought for Southern football area and the first weekend of college football, I thought they had a great crowd over there for that event. And homeboy won the race, Joseph Newgarden from Nashville. Won it, and Alex Pillow was crowned the IndyCar champion for the 4th year in the last 5.
Not bad.
And I thought the racing was outstanding. A lot of passing, a lot of lead changes, the close finish. I think there was 12 different lead changes in the race, and a lot of drivers did really well. Connor Daly had a 5th place finish, and of course he drives for a team that's not a high income or a high dollar team, so that was a really good finish for him to end the year. And Kiffin Simpson, who drives for Ganassi, finished 4th, and Santino Ferrucci, who drives for A.J. Foyt Racing, he was sent to the back of the field for a violation during the race and ended up finishing 8th. Goodness. You know, so he would have been right there with the contenders if he hadn't been penalized. But it was a good weekend. I enjoyed it, and I think that event is here to stay. And the weather was cooperative down there. And next year they got they're going to go to Phoenix. They haven't been to Phoenix for quite some time, and it used to be a regular on the IndyCar circuit. They're going to go to Mexico City, and then they're going to race through the streets of Arlington, Texas, down there in Jerry Jones territory, and he's involved in that deal. So he's brought them down there to run through the streets.
Imagine that, Jerry Jones being involved. Yeah.
There's not too much he's not involved in.
That's going on.
So, Mike, my biggest question for you is, where were the cars going faster? Inside the Nashville track or out on 840? Which one? Where do you think? Where do you think was the biggest raceway?
I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, though. The traffic out there around on those interstates, not nearly as bad as driving 465 around Indianapolis. Indianapolis, it's like you're in a video game. You're behind the wheel, and people are going around you. And, you know, when I was up there, they had all this construction going along in Indianapolis. Had all the construction that said speed limit 45 miles an hour out on the interstate. Well, you know, I'm just trying to keep out of everybody's way. And people are just going around me like I'm standing still.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I'd have to go around somebody just to keep from hitting them. So I get back, and they gave me a warning for going 55 in a 45-mile zone for construction.
Are you kidding
and
me?
I'm going, I was just trying to stay out of everybody's way to keep from getting killed.
You got to go with the flow.
But anyhow, yeah.
Well, the trick to 840, because I drove by on Sunday while you were out to race. I was driving by on 840, and it was a green flag once you got past the raceway exit because it was closed to traffic while the race was going on. But it was like a green flag drop because people went from 75 to a 95 and 105 as soon as they got past that exit. And if you ever played Mario Kart, they were swerving over to the side to give up the star power and throw cells and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
How big of a track is it?
It's a mile and I think it's a mile and 1.6 miles.
Okay.
1.7. It's a little odd.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's not an oval or kind of a try. And but it's a good track. It's banked, you know, to a certain degree, and you know the racing's good. You know, the passing and the competitiveness. It's a good track to race. And I like it a lot better than the race that they had downtown. You know, the Grand Prix style race through the streets. You can see all the way around the track. Yeah. Out here, and I don't know. I've been really impressed with the crowds. I thought it was a good crowd. You know, for the time because you know college football going on. Tennessee opened the season, and gee, it was just it was kind of neat to see all the people come out for it. I think that race is here to stay, and it's kind of unique in the fact it's right in the middle of the South. I'm in stock car country, and you know how they feel about you know NASCAR racing down here, but they drew real well.
Yeah, I still think that they just need to put some stands up on Alcoa Highway and make that into a race.
Yeah,
I mean, that's from Maryville, Alcoa to Knoxville. You just put a racetrack right there. I guarantee you got more obstacles now.
That's similar to 465. Just get on Alcoa Highway.
You see it all going.
Get to the venture.
Donnie, it's kind of the silly season for driver changes. You know, Will Power, after 17 years with Penske, he's going to join Andretti Global next year, and Renus VK is going to go to AJ Foyt Racing, and he departs Dale Coyne Racing, and then Colta Herta is going to Cadillac Formula One's training team to hopefully drive for Andretti Global in that series in a year or two. They're putting I think Cadillac in Formula One. I think next year's going to be their first year.
They announced their driver lineup.
He's gone to that, and David Malukas looks like he's probably going to go to Penske from AJ Foyt Racing. That hadn't been announced yet, but a lot of changes there. But anyhow,
that's true.
Good to see everybody again.
Yeah, good to be here,
back.
man.
And I've got a letter rip this morning.
Yeah,
so
we figured you did.
It's on my mind.
I thought I smelled something.
The Vols had Syracuse last week, and everybody was really excited, and and they got East Tennessee State today, and everybody's really excited. So I decided that I just had to let her rip. What a great week of college football matchups the country had for first games this season last week. Texas at Ohio State, Alabama at Florida State, LSU at Clemson, Notre Dame at Miami. All exciting games with much on the line. Wow. Tennessee, Syracuse, and Atlanta, not so much. Even TV didn't think much of the matchup as it was placed opposite Ohio State and Texas. The only real watchers of the Vols and Orangemen were diehard Tennessee fans, but even at that, I'll bet most of them turned to watch Arch Manning versus the Buckeyes. The point I'm making, it's time for Tennessee and athletic director Danny White to put on the big boy pants and quit scheduling cupcakes for an opener. If you want to bring the program to the high level that matches your cost of a season ticket, schedule traditionally high-ranked teams. And I don't mean scheduling games in Atlanta, Nashville, Bristol Motor Speedway, or Charlotte. I'm talking about going to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. You know, where money talks and the talent is all around. The storied Vol program has been a no-show in home or openers. Here's a list that shows the disgrace. Austin Peay, Ball State, Bowling Green, Utah State, Montana, UT Martin, Western Carolina, Georgia State. Whoops. Appalachian State, close. There have been a few ACC teams that have been thrown into an opener, but none to get too excited about. NC State, Georgia Tech, and an outsider there and then, West Virginia, UCLA, but nothing to give you the national exposure to put you on the path to a playoff spot and a possible national championship. What's the problem in getting a great national matchup? Location, time, money, or reluctance? Whatever it is, I have a possible solution that could give the SEC and Tennessee the national spotlight in Week 1. Schedule SEC games to open the season. How do you like these games for Week 1? Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Florida, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. With this matchup, who would be watching anybody else on the chosen TV time slot? Money, 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 exposure, exposure, exposure. Well, after all this hopeful thinking, I'm a little late with this great advice for Tennessee, as the Vols' next 2 home openers will be 2026, Furman, and in 2027, Tennessee State. You kidding me?
What a stellar
Are you
lineup.
kidding me? How embarrassing.
It can
All
always
right.
be worse, Mike.
Might as well schedule Carson Newman.
I just, yes, yeah.
It's better competition.
Keep the money here.
Yeah.
All that.
I like that. I like those big, powerful. I'm like Coach Trail, play the tough game early, see what you got, And those teams that played, I know Alabama took a pretty big hit in the polls, but Notre Dame just dropped, after their game with Miami, I think just dropped down to 9th. And, and Clemson, not very much. And Texas didn't drop very much when playing Ohio State. I mean, I don't know. How do y'all feel about it?
Let me ask you this. Has Tennessee ever played Ohio State or Michigan during the regular?
I'll tell you what, excluding Penn State, I looked this up one time.
Yeah.
Excluding Penn State, because they came into the Big Ten late, but the original Big Ten, Tennessee had never played a regular season football game against a Big Ten school. Now they had played them in bowl games, but never in a regular season game.
Boy, that's just odd.
But I think that's fixing to change, because there seems to be a lot of argument between the Big Ten and the SEC and money and who's got the best. I think maybe we're going to see some future intersectional games. I think Alabama's playing Wisconsin. They played them last year up in Madison, and they're playing them down in Tuscaloosa next week. So I think we're going to see more of that. What do you think, Caleb?
Tennessee did have Nebraska scheduled here over the next few years, and they canceled that contract and bought out of it. But Tennessee's got Georgia Tech, which I think for everybody's sake next season to play Georgia Tech on the road. You don't want that game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You'd like that on a college campus, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of I'm not a big fan of the neutral site games. I feel like, college sports are at its best when it's on a campus and you got crazy fans and kind of both bands going at it. But when you go to a neutral site game like Atlanta, where there's 45,000 people in a 5,000 people stadium, it's kind of echoey, and it just doesn't have the feel of a college game. But I think the highlight of last weekend, Mike, I found out Long Island has a football team. Yeah. Because they went down to Gainesville and got beat like a drum by Florida.
I did not know Long Island
I didn't think they would field a football team.
I never heard of that.
Hey, those neutral site games for Tennessee are not neutral site games. They're playing where the Tennessee fans can go. Those are home games for Tennessee. They're not neutral site. That's part of my argument. Get out of your own backyard and go play somebody else's place. And I just don't like those first games where you're just not playing anybody. And, that Georgia Tech game next year, but they're not opening against them. That's not the first game. Mm-hmm. It's a second game. So,
well, the neutral site with Atlanta, the problem is there's only so many places you can put an RV around that stadium, and they've got
there's only one place.
They got rules against camping on the sidewalks in that city. So I mean, you're really putting Tennessee fans at a distance there.
Yeah. Well, and you hit the nail on the head. You got Nashville mixed in there, the Titans Stadium. I guess the perk is that your college kids are getting the opportunity to play in an NFL stadium, but you lose the environment of a college football game, because it's not the same. And like Marcus mentioned, you lose tailgating, especially in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and you just lose the feel. It doesn't feel like a college football game.
Well, I like it. I'm talking about the opening game. I mean, it just opens the door. When you got like Texas going to Ohio State,
and that's encouragement all offseason.
It's like, wow, football is here. It's arrived. It's not like Ohio State playing Bowling Green or something like that. I mean, get the Titans go at each other. They've had a whole off season to get ready for it.
People don't care much for Notre Dame down here, but Notre Dame went to play Miami. They played last year.
They've done that historically.
Last year they went to Texas A&M to play an opener. Now they played Miami last week. Today they're playing Texas A&M at home.
Yeah,
you know what it is?
I don't know if that's this week. I think it's next week.
I think it's
next week.
You know what it is too, Mike? Notre Dame can't make the SEC excuse where the SEC is like, oh man, we play a really tough conference schedule. Notre Dame can't say that. There is no conference schedule. So guess what? They've got to buck up and play those big games.
Yeah, I think this year they play Texas A&M and they play at Arkansas this year. So they've got a couple of SECs.
You'll know exactly what type of team they are probably by week 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Tennessee's got East Tennessee State today. Tony Ierulli. What's the high expectations for the Vols today? What's the high line after you look at the game they play today?
I think their expectations.
The high line.
Well, I think their expectations is starting fast. Be very effective early on offensively. I mean, their new quarterback. Again, I forget his name, but he's he had a very good, solid first game of the season. But they want to kind of continue to build on that. Being able to play at home, get the crowd excited and all that. And it's East Tennessee, so you're going to get a nice crowd coming from their side as well. And it's you'd like to see a bigger matchup for their second game, but keep it. And again, if they're allowed one type of game like that, that's fine. But I think the expectation is them to be efficient, start fast, play a lot of guys on both sides of the ball, and get prepared for the next week.
Yeah. I've got a name for these games. Welfare games. Welfare,
yep.
Yeah.
Welfare games. Y'all like that?
At least they're giving it to an
Come
in-state
in and get
school.
your welfare check for what? $1.5 million?
Well, at least they're keeping it in state.
Yeah, you got to keep it inside.
Yeah, they're helping out East Tennessee. They've helped out UT Chattanooga.
Yeah.
They've helped out Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
Caleb
a chance
Martin.
To get UT Martin.
Yeah.
Caleb a chance to get some non-starters in the game, give them some experience today, get some quarterbacks out there that get them some game experience. Is that a high mark, you think?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for today. Not only getting the non-starters and some of those backups on the field, but a big thing that coaches always talk about is they want to get the younger kids and the backups in front of fans, because it's a lot different when you perform as a freshman on the practice field versus when you've got 100,000 people around you. So a big thing the coaching staff likes about, as you call them, these welfare games, Mike, is that the players get to walk through the Vol Walk, they go through pregame routine, they go through warm-ups, and they play in front of the fans. So that way, next week when it's Georgia in town, if that freshman is called on, there's no nerves there. But, ETSU had a great season last year. They've got a new head coach this year, and they'll have a spark. And interestingly enough, they've got 2 Power 5 transfers at quarterback. They got Jacoby Criswell and Cade McNamara, who a lot of people remember from Iowa. So not only do you get the chance to play a lot of young guys, but it'll be a good test for those young guys. Maybe not athlete on athlete, but those quarterbacks obviously know what's going on if they were at one point at the Power 5 level.
Coach, I hate these games. I know you can tell.
No, I would not.
I know you can tell that, and I appreciate Caleb, with all of his analysis for this game, but I just hate him.
I was right behind you, Caleb.
I appreciate it.
I want to ask you this, Coach Ierulli, and I know that I'll get a good answer from you.
Okay.
These players, all they talk about, it's pro. I want to go to the pro. I want to play the pro game. I want to play the pro. Why in the world, if you're going to go to the pros, why don't you play the pro schedule? Why don't you play all Power 4 now? It's Power 4 instead of Power 5. Play Power 4 games, 12 of them throughout the season. That's the way it is in the pros. They don't play 3 games against sub NFL or whatever they got going down there. I don't know what they got going, but why? Why do you feel like you got to play 3 or 4 of these games within these conferences?
Well, they do it because one, fans are still going to come and play and watch the game. All right, they feel like
I'm going to get to that, but I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to give the younger guys the game day experience, which they probably normally would not get if they're playing a Power 5 opponent in a big critical game. It gives those younger guys some experience that's going to help out during the rest of the season. It's it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of their off week. Instead of having to bye. Yeah, okay, we'll play a game. We'll play against East Tennessee, UT Chattanooga. So at least we're out there playing. But the thing about Tennessee a lot of times, to me, it seems like they have 2 or 3 of those type of games on the schedule instead of playing an Ohio State or you said they dropped a Nebraska. I can't remember the reason why.
Nebraska dropped it.
Or not, Nebraska dropped them. Yeah. So it's important for them to continue to build on that team, and that's why they have a couple of these off ones.
Well, they've got 3 of them on the schedule this year, and they got an unranked Syracuse team that they played.
Unranked Syracuse,
the
they got
Tennessee. Unranked Syracuse. I want to make that.
Syracuse was a lot better when they scheduled the game.
Syracuse was a lot better in basketball than they ever were in football, except back in the day when they had Ernie Davis and Floyd Little. And
they had a couple years.
Yeah, back in the '60s.
Well, didn't Jim Brown play there?
Yeah, Jim Brown.
Yeah, that's a running back.
Yeah, that you're going way back now.
Well,
unfortunately,
Tony,
aren't I the oldest here?
Tony and I was having this discussion about the '60s, and everybody out there listening is going, "Whoa, I never heard of those guys. Let me get my telephone and look them guys up."
We're closer to the 2060s than the 1960s.
Yeah, so I can feel better about Syracuse last week. Okay, you brought the fans. The fans want to come in and watch the game. Okay, why are Tennessee fans dishing out? This is what a ticket's going for. Not what somebody paid for one, but if somebody wants to go to the game today, $72, and you're thinking, well, is that what they're paying now? Well, at Alabama today, is what I've heard last week, Alabama's playing Louisiana Monroe Day. Those tickets are going for $9.
Yeah.
$9. Now, those Alabama fans are paying $9. Now they lost last week to Florida State, but our Tennessee fans are paying $72 to watch this ETSU game. So I've got 4 things right here, and I want you guys to pick one of these out. The first one is A. This is why they pay $72. A, the Forrest Gump philosophy. Are you stupid or something? B, love the Vols more than their money. C, keep your string of first home games alive, or you have absolutely nothing else to do. So which one of those right there hit the spot?
Man.
Caleb, I'll start with you.
This is a really good question. You're like giving me an ACT here. I'll go with a mix of A and B. I think it's just the fans are crazy, and a mix of paying $70 to watch Tennessee play ETSU, and it's going to rain today.
And they're going to leave at the halftime.
Yeah. Although you're not going to get to watch the starters more than maybe a quarter or half. It's going to be raining probably. The field's going to be muddy if it's not raining.
And maybe a rain delay in there.
Yeah, God forbid. So
I think it's a 3 o'clock game.
3:30. Yeah. So I think it's a mix of A and B. And hey, here's another theory, Mike. Maybe people just haven't figured out how to pull up streaming and watch the game on SEC Network Plus.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't.
This game isn't over the antennas.
Tony, which one of those you like?
Well, first of all, let me say this. One of Nick Saban's earliest and first losses at Alabama was against
Louisiana Monroe.
Not Louisiana State.
No.
Louisiana at Monroe.
Yeah,
wherever the heck.
Monroe.
Maybe
not Monroe County, but Monroe.
Kalen DeBoer can finally do something today that Nick Saban didn't.
That's right.
He can beat the Warhawks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He better beat him.
Yeah.
So what was your question again?
Yeah, which one of these you like?
I just like the thought that they're playing them now and getting it done and over with.
Get it over with. Well, that wasn't one of the 4, but that's a good one.
That's a good point.
How about you down there, Marcus? You've been quiet.
I've been quiet for a reason.
There's a reason for that.
Donnie's had me turned off. But, before I answer, I got to say, anybody correcting pronunciation out of anything in Louisiana is just a waste of time. But besides that, I would say I'm going to go with the money you've invested. It's easier to get a season ticket package than it is to get a single game ticket and count on. So I will say that to a degree, but for everything that might be against a UT fan today with the weather, with the opponent, the kickoff time. The ones who are invested, they started their pregame ritual when they left work on Friday. Some of them on Thursday when they drove in. They've been tailgating. They don't care if it rains. They don't care if it snows. They don't care if it's 90 degrees. They're going to have a good time. They're going to enjoy it. They will be. I would say they'd be on the Strip tonight if there was anywhere left to go on the Strip, but they'll be somewhere around, and they'll be enjoying it. And if you want to make a weekend of it, I think that's how you have to do it now, because let's say if it was me and I was going to spend the money, I'd buy a season ticket package and pick the game or two I'd go to, and I'd sell the rest.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to see, because people want a good seat, but they're not going to want to necessarily personally spend that $2,000 or whatever it's going to cost now.
Well, $2,500 on the average. Yeah.
So,
Donnie Moore, you're up.
I'm leaning toward B.
B. Love the balls more than your money.
And a lot of Tennessee fans do that. So, they're rabid, as the case may be.
There's probably some charge cards maxed out there.
Wouldn't be at all surprised.
Before concessions.
Yeah. Caleb, this game today, we talked about the high water mark. What's the low water mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going to keep a Vol fan from leaving the stadium not feeling as good about going against Georgia next week after seeing?
I'm sure everybody here will remember the Joe Milton days of Tennessee, where, I think it was Austin Peay that year where they were struggling to run an offense on Austin Peay, and you're like, man, how are we supposed to beat Alabama, Florida, Georgia, even, Vanderbilt if you can't run up 50 or 60 points on an FCS team from your own state? So
seriously,
I think that's the low water mark, is if you look up in the third quarter and Joey Aguilar's playing quarterback and the starters are still in, you're like, ugh, this is not good.
Yeah.
And, hey, maybe the rain has something to do with it and it turns into an ugly game, but still, even then, Tennessee should be able to run the ball every play today and beat a team like ETSU.
Yeah.
So that would be my low water mark, is if your starters are playing the second half and if, there's not over 35 points on the scoreboard for Tennessee.
Coach Ierulli, you don't want any injuries today.
No. And that's the thing on a game like this. Let's play your starters, play them early, then get them out of there, because you don't want you don't want someone come down with a serious knee injury and now he's out for most of the season against East Tennessee. All right, so like you said, hey, let's go ahead and score. Let's try to get a lot of points early on, and then get the starters out, let the young guys play, let them gain the experience.
Caleb, if you're going to look at something at the game today, kind of a sidelight, they got some injuries in the secondary. Tennessee's got some injuries. You got a couple of five-star quarterbacks back there. It's going to throw the ball a little bit. Might want to watch that secondary today a little bit. Huh? Maybe forget the score and just see what about the secondary play if you're looking for something. What do you think?
I think, I said it off the top, ETSU probably won't have the athletes to compete with Tennessee, but those guys will be smart. They're two Power 5 quarterbacks, and you're going to have freshmen out there. So, if Tennessee's freshmen do blow coverages or leave somebody open, I would be willing to bet that one of those two guys is going to find those open receivers. So it'll be different from where a usual FCS opponent, you don't usually see the mistakes. But I'm with you, Mike. I think if a freshman or somebody makes a mistake in that secondary, you'll be able to see it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if they make the play, though.
Low water mark might be a sloppy game, where Tennessee has a lot of penalties, maybe turns the ball over maybe a couple of times.
Lots of rain during the game and all that.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school football scores from around the area, and we'll have some other news from the area, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sportspage, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sportspage. And Donnie Moore, a good night for Blount County teams high school football last night.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and for a second week in a row, on week 3 here, Blount County teams have performed admirably well, and a lot of them have come out victorious.
Yeah,
most of them, in fact.
And I know it's early in the year, but we've got some teams, especially Heritage and William Blount, that can make some noise in their leagues this year.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody's split up this year in different leagues, pretty for the most part. But yeah, they can make some noise.
Yeah,
like you said. Well, let's get right to it in our segment entitled "The Mandy B. Street Realty Local Focus," sponsored, of course, by Mandy B. Street Realty. Prep football week 3. Alcoa went to Gibbs last night and mopped up with the Eagles.
It was a great way to start 4A play for the Tornadoes.
It was.
I got to go over there last night.
Good, Marcus.
Gibbs facility is still fantastic. They redid the stadium, I think, 2 years ago, that they did the whole stadium flip and put in the turf. Beautiful place, beautiful venue. And unfortunately for Gibbs, they saw what everybody else has seen from Alcoa.
True.
And they struggled a bit early on. And once they cracked that first couple of times, it was a catch-up game that they weren't going to be able to run their way back into.
And Alcoa is a team that has so much talent in multiplicities of areas that you know they'll find a way to beat you.
So here we've talked about the quarterback several times already this year.
Yeah.
So he had 3 straight incompletions last night on one drive, and after the game, people were asking Coach Nix if he was okay. He went 10 of 13 for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he's fine. Those were only 3 passes he missed in the whole game.
I wouldn't worry about it.
And that's the first thing they were asking Coach about.
Well, Alcoa wins 52-7 in a region contest. Next week, Thursday, I think, isn't it?
Thursday night game.
Thursday night, Knox West comes to Alcoa.
No, it's over there.
That's right. It is at Knox West. I'm sorry. Had that right there. At Knox West. West is reeling right now. They're 0-2.
0-2
to start the season.
It's not looking good for West at the moment.
No,
so
it's not. West lost to Central last night, 29-21. Good game. I watched it, and Central's pretty decent, especially when they're playing at home. Makes a difference, I guess. Eagleton College and Career Academy hosted Providence Academy last night, and
where's Providence from?
they're upper Johnson City.
Johnson City.
Okay, yeah, Upper East Tennessee. But they hosted the Providence Academy. Were victorious. Eagleton was 39-14. Next week, Eagleton travels to Sullivan East, who lost last night to Cherokee 55-13. So we'll see how they match up with Sullivan East. Greenback hosted Midway last night in a region contest. That's the only area team to not be victorious in their game. Greenback gets beat 36-7, and they will travel to Harriman for another region contest next week. Harriman lost to Wartburg Central 37-34. So put up some good numbers right there. Moving on to another one of our local teams, Heritage High School versus South Doyle. South Doyle comes to Heritage, leaves disappointed.
Good.
Yeah. It was 35-14 in favor of the Mountaineers in another region contest.
And we'll hear some more about the Mountaineers for the folks hanging around for a little bit. But
indeed,
let's say Heritage turned that game on special teams last night, special play, and ran away from South Doyle.
Makes a difference.
It's 2 weeks in a row now they've used special teams to come away with a win.
Yeah.
You know, that I asked you this earlier for trivia, and we probably should have somebody who could look this up for us. But the last time Heritage and William Blount were going into week 4, both undefeated, it's been a while.
Kidding. It has been a while. It's not in my recent memory anyway.
I think it's great things for both programs and shows how reclassification works.
I think it's just great for Blount County seeing those two teams doing well. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're just over talking, Tony, but you don't have a headset on.
My sign language here.
All right. Heritage hosts Anderson County next week in a region contest. Anderson County's got a good football team. They beat Fulton last night 46-0. Shut out Fulton. Don't know how big of a test that was, but Anderson County can play the game.
They've been a benefit of the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Remember the days when Fulton was really strong? We were sitting here on the program wanting a Fulton-Maryville matchup.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I sure do. Speaking of Maryville, they went to Bearden last night in a region contest. Goodness, Maryville was more than enough for the Bulldogs. 56-0 it ended up. That's the second week in a row that Bearden's been pasted by a Blount County team. Maryville goes to Cleveland next week in region play, who lost to Tullahoma last night 39-20. So Cleveland appears to be decent.
They've got a first-year head coach, so kind of still don't know what their identity is.
We'll figure it out next week. It'll be a great test for them. William Blount hosted Clinton in a region game. William Blount comes out on top in a high scoring shooting match, 48-35 against Clinton. William Blount hosts Powell next week in a region contest. Again, Powell defeated Halls 32-13 on Thursday of this week. Powell looked good. I watched that game too.
They've got a really good, he won't air it out, but their quarterback, it takes probably 4 guys to bring him down.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good test for William Blount.
That's true.
And I wouldn't be shocked if it turns into another track meet either.
No, I wouldn't either. William Blount's been scoring a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
And Seymour beat Cott County over at in Newport last night, 27-7. Seymour travels. Well, no, they don't. They host Greenville next week. Greenville beat Northview Academy, shut them out 49-0 last night. So the Green Devils are always a test for just about anybody they play. That'll do it for the Mandy B Street Realty Local Focus. Unless somebody's got something to add. And it's time now to flip it to my colleague, veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature called Mark It Down, after I tell you that you're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM, Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie.
You're welcome.
It's a nice handoff this year. And as I kind of teased earlier, we've got guests in the house today. Heritage Lady Mountaineer Soccer is joining us.
Nice.
And let me say, fresh off a rivalry win over William Blount. Did I say that right? Okay. So Coach Quinn's brought in two of his Lady Mountaineers. We have Katie Graves. Wave. And
there's Katie.
And Tara Lemons joining us.
There's Tara. Good.
Coach, I guess we could unfairly put you on the spot and say you might be a little bit new to this rivalry, but you have to know at this point how huge a win this was for you, for Heritage.
Absolutely. I think, it's funny, the military academies all play each other, and there's a commander-in-chief trophy. I think here in Blount County we ought to make our own, right? But I was introduced very quickly to not just the importance but the intensity of these rivalries, especially William Blount. And so we know what we were getting into. I mean, we came in, they were 4-0, undefeated, and played some decent competition. And so we knew that the task was going to be an uphill battle. And I think we answered the other night that we were ready for it.
Did you kind of get a peek, because I was going back and I was reading Josh Lane's story, and y'all got a win over Greenville the week before in the Bearden Invitational. That's a big win for the power, because Greenville's one of those, we were just mentioning the football, but their soccer program is traditionally year in, year out one of the best in East Tennessee. Y'all going to beat them. That's got to be a confidence boost this early in the year.
I agree. You know, we tell these kids all the time, don't read the name on the front of the jersey, but then when you beat a big team, everybody's reading the name on the front of the jersey, you know, and Greenville is a team that not only wins their district but goes into region play and state tournament perennially. They've got multiple state championships to their name, and so for us to be able to do what we did the other night, kind of playing really, I mean, you can always improve, but playing as close to a complete game as I'd seen them play all year, to be able to do that against Greenville, against talent, that we saw there. You know, we were in the Bearden Invitational, and before I took this job over, I've been to the Bearden Invitational every year, and Ryan does a great job down there with that tournament. But I told the girls before the game, I said, this is where magic happens, and magic happened that night.
Well, let's put them on the spot a little bit. We good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I noticed you might have cherry-picked a little bit here, but when I'm reading the scoring, these names look fairly similar to who's here with us today.
By design, right?
By design, I guess. So I'm going to put them both on the spot. And, Katie, I'll start with you, but give us a rundown of what that goal was.
I mean, it was just off a corner. He pulled me aside, and he was like, you need to go stand on the end. And I was like, okay. And the ball came exactly to the end, and I just shot it in the back of the goal, and there it was. And I was like, okay, he knew what he was talking about. It went right to me.
Corners don't. That makes corners sound easy.
I wish it was like that all the time, but it worked out perfectly.
And Tara, how was yours?
I just got put into a new position. I've played it last game and just starting it again this game. And I know where I'm supposed to be, and I was just there at the right time.
New position. So tell us what the switch was.
So I went from defense on the back line to pushing up right in the midfield. So it was a little nerve-wracking because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just listening to Quinn, and I got where I needed to be.
She made you sound really sharp there, Coach. that was a great personnel call. You make the move, and she scores her second time out there.
I'll say this. Being here at Heritage has been an absolutely amazing experience, and I mean from the top down. I mean from the principal to the athletic director, the parents, the players, and on every level there's been a buy-in, and no bigger than on the player side. And, you know, you're right, it makes me look good, but I tell them all the time, they're the ones that do the work. You know, I could sit on the sideline in a rocking chair and eat Frito pies. You're the ones doing all the work. And they really have. They've worked hard, and they've done the things that we've coached them to do. And I think what's really special about Tara's goal is, you know, her father has been the assistant coach here for 4 years. And it was a moment, really a credit to the Daily Times for capturing the moment in the moment. The picture that was there in the printed article, I think it was Thursday, captures that moment with father and daughter. That one right there, what a photo, you know, and captures that moment where the two of them, you know, high five and semi embrace there. What a moment for a kid, and what a moment for a proud father. That I think it was your first varsity goal.
Yeah.
And so what a moment for him to be able to, and what a reward, because through the past 4 years, Greg Lemons has been a staple. He's been there, and he got to enjoy that moment with his daughter there.
And you kind of laid me out there with something I wanted to ask the girls about, because you mentioned you can sit back in the rocking chair with Fritos. Y'all had to do a little bit of that, because this thing didn't actually end. You all had to wait the weather and then weigh a decision. So I got to ask, what does a team do in that situation? Were you all just standing there in the rain? Did you go back to the locker room? Did you try to keep warm? What did the players do in that situation?
We just kind of went under the stands, and we were all in a big huddle group talking, making TikToks, just having fun out there.
Oh, now she's opened the door. Who was making the TikToks, and were they good?
Just a couple of us. And it was really fun. It was really a good moment to just be there with the whole team.
And, of course, they were good.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. Coach, that's the situation. It's like worst nightmare because you don't know if or when ever you're going to get back on and finish this thing, and you've got to keep them calm but still energized.
Well, you know, when you go out, you're always going to have a little bit of time for some warm-up. But, you know, and I don't know how other coaches do it. I tell my players all the time, I don't know if this is the right way. This is just my way. And my thing is let the kids disconnect. You know, let them do the things that they want to do. It's my job. It's my coaching staff's job to have them ready when the time happens. And so I love that they got to just be able to enjoy it and hang out and relax. But you're right. You know, you're waiting to see what's going to happen. We ended up, I think, staying there for about 45 minutes before we got out of there, and we were late in the second half, so we were able to call it. But, you know, my philosophy has always been let them disconnect when they got an opportunity to disconnect, and then it'll be my job to get them locked back in. And then
it was mentioned several times on several different radio stations for area teams that were mentioning this when they ran the Heritage Score, but last night at Heritage, besides the big win for the football team, they took a moment, and I guess we can embarrass Katie again because why not at this point?
Why not, right?
But the basketball team officially received their rings. What was that like?
Oh, it was great. I mean, we won it a while back, but it was great to just be recognized again. I mean, for all the hard work, and everybody was out there. And Chris even came. He drove all the way down there to come see us get our rings, and the cheerleaders got to go out there with us, and it was nice having Tara out there with us because those cheerleaders worked so hard with us.
So here's I've been kind of trying to keep count. I feel like you all have had to make as many appearances as you had to play games since you won the title.
It's been a lot. It's definitely been a lot. We've gone around to all the schools, but it's great to see all those little kids and just try and build a bigger program than we already have.
And, Coach, when you can bleed over from one successful program to another, that's always coaches tell me a lot that when they know how to win in one sport, they bring that confidence to another sport. Can you see that on this team?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, you know, we've got – like I said, the buy-in by all the players has been fantastic. But, you know, we brought in 3 basketball players. And one of the biggest reasons why we brought them in is because we knew that they knew what it took to win. You know, because winning doesn't just happen. You got to cultivate that. You know, you reap what you sow, so to speak. And we knew that, you know, these 3 basketball players that we brought in, as they got reps on their feet, you know, because they played soccer before, but as they got reps on their feet, they would get better and better and better. But yes, I mean, they have really helped this team along, and these girls, you know, especially these young players, these freshmen, can look at them and see the success that they've had and how it transcends over into another sport.
And so, okay, we'll put that out to you. Do y'all feel that has basketball bled over to everything else? Because it feels like even in the spring we were seeing like softball taking some surge, and it feels like maybe we were seeing it starting out here. Like it feels like it's bled into all the other female sports at Heritage.
I really hope it does. I think that would just be great. I mean, having a big girls sports program and everything would be amazing. And I think basketball's where it started, and softball tried to finish it out at the end of the year, and they probably have a good run this year. I mean, they got most of the team back, and I think if soccer can just start creeping up there, I mean, then we'll be good to go, and then people will start coming in, and then we'll be rolling. I mean.
Okay, so now that puts a hard question to you, Tara. So you're all still just really just in the first part of the season. You've got a lot of soccer still ahead. What does this team got to do for you all to feel like this was your season? What do you all still need to get done?
I feel like we're doing pretty good this season, but I feel like we just need to keep believing in ourselves and keep not just keep going and listen to Quinn and take his advice and just see how it all plays out.
Okay, so you've got the win over William Blount. That was, and we know you don't have to tell us that was circled, whether you want to admit it or not. We know it was circled on the schedule.
I mean, I'll admit it. It was the only game that week. So. Call it what you will, right?
But those are always. So, is there one still out there that you all are kind of like, that's one I really want?
Oh, I know the path you're leading us down.
I'm not trying to set you up. I'm just saying there are games that come up, and there are rivalry games, and sometimes they're not the games people like us think they are that matter. Sometimes it's not the natural rivalry game. Sometimes it's one from they beat us 2 seasons ago sort of thing. So I'm just curious if there was one out there personally that you all were thinking about.
I want to beat Kingston.
Oh, okay, there's one.
I would probably say Alcoa.
Okay, there's the other. So, which were not on my list, by the way. So, Coach, when you got the situation you got, you walk into a tough district region. How do you get this team ready for this? Because, I mean, it looks like you're scheduling up and playing hard teams to kind of get them ready, but you all got a tough stretch run to go through.
I mean, you kind of got to play the games. You know, I adjusted the schedule. You know, I didn't make the schedule. I came in and a lot of that schedule was built, and then I tried to adjust it a little bit. But I'll say this, you know, you've got to play competition in order to get better. And I feel like, you know, you take that Farragut game where we were tied with them, first game of the season, 0-0 at half. You know, that's a big deal. That's something you could build on. Even if you're not walking away with a victory, it's important to find victories in defeat. And so we are slowly and step by step and little by little just taking things and building them. And so success breeds success a lot of times, right? And so if you can get these kids to believe in what they're doing, and then they're able to reap the reward from doing the things that you're coaching them to do, it's always the next game, but it's in that moment, you want to acknowledge that, and you want to build on that. And you take those small things, and, you know, it's like one of the assistant coaches who was with me at Central before, Matt Schroeder, you know, I told him, because I played against him a few years ago, and I said, you know, they led us for about 5 minutes. And I said, Coach, can you take 5 minutes and turn it into 20? Can you then turn it into 40 and then into 80? And that's what we're trying to do with this team. We're trying to take these little moments, these little steps, these small things, and seeing if we can turn them into something bigger. And especially against the district. You know, like, these county games are big, and you know, we're never going to have trouble getting up for those county games. But can we get up for our district games? Can we be ready to go? Can we withstand the rigors of the season? You know, we got 24 kids on this team. You know, kids are going to get playing time, you know, and moments are going to be there. And so can we be ready for our district games? Because, you know, you got 5 district games. If you go 5-11 during the season, but you won the 5 games that mattered, you're first seed, you know. And so the game that Katie brought up, you know, that was a Kingston game that got away from us. And so we want to, if we have the opportunity, because that's a district game, go back and get that one again.
And then I'm going to close out with this for the players, but you all probably don't know this, but a lot of times on this show we get frustrated with the single sport mentality of athletics in high school now. So I'm hearing that you're both multi-sport players. Make the case to me about why multi-sport is good. What does it help between sports? Or the things that translates? Does it just keep you on schedule to go to practice year-round, sort of thing? Make the case to me. Why is multi-sport good?
I feel like with cheer and soccer, I feel like they can be 2 like totally different things. I feel like it's kind of weird to hear that like a cheerleader is also a soccer player. But I feel like it's very good for me because it gets me out there and it kind of gives me 2 different like point of views. And I just think it's good for me to be here with 2 whole different teams and just building good relationships with each team.
I think it's good because soccer, it's a lot of like running, and it's going to get me in shape for basketball. I mean, my basketball team's running the track outside right now, but it's it's completely different from soccer. I mean, I'm outside every day in the heat, running around the field, and then we have games, and I'm running around the field even more, and it's just going to keep me in better shape for basketball, and I'll come back, and it's like I'm back in shape. And basketball, I think basketball for Coach Howard is basically year-round. I mean, it never stops, so it gives me, like, I get to go to basketball practice, and then I get to go to soccer practice, so it gives me, like, I get to do more things than just basketball, because basketball is basically like our lives. I mean, we push for greatness every day, and we want to be better, but it just gives me a different opportunity. And I've also got to meet a lot of new people, because all my friends, basically, it's basketball, 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 and it's given me a chance to talk to new people and grow my friend group.
Those are great things. I believe you. But I just got to wonder, because you're running at soccer, does that get you out of running for Coach Howard, or does he? Are there no exceptions?
No, it gets me out of. They run the track after school, so I have soccer after school. So I mean, I can't really go.
Okay, well, I didn't know if he made you run after soccer practice. I mean,
no.
No.
No, I do the running during practice, and that's about it. I don't have to go out there and run the track.
Well, both our goal scorers, 2-0 win over William Blount. To repeat that, if you're just joining us, appreciate you all getting up this morning, coming in on Saturday morning. I know that may not have been the top of your list of things to do on a Saturday, but we appreciate it. Coach, thanks for arranging to come in and bring them. And we wish all the best of luck down the road. Katie may have heard this. It may have been word of mouth, but we have a standing offer that you can always win more invites to the show, because the more successful you are, the more we want to have you. So we try our best to get state champions back on the show. So not that you didn't have that in your dream wish list, but we'll put it out there as another incentive for you.
Well, it was our pleasure to be here. We're excited about this, and thank you so much for the opportunity, for giving the recognition to these players, to this program, and we hope to make the county proud.
Ken, thanks. And Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page and take a break here.
Yeah, time to turn the page. Next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sportspage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Thank you, sir. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sportspage Player of the Week segment, featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years.
100-year-old business.
Yeah.
That's
Donnie Moore,
pretty cool.
Looking at the head soccer coach there at Heritage, and I kept looking at him and looking at him and looking at him. I said, guy looks just exactly like Stu Aberdeen. You remember
did
Stu
look
Aberdeen,
like Stu.
assistant coach over at UT when I was coaching or playing basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Over there. Yeah, and
He
his,
did kind of favor
his
Stu.
enthusiasm and everything was just like Stu.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
all right, yeah. Great to have them on. Marcus, it's all yours, bud.
Well, thanks, Mike. And I'm going to let Caleb jump in here, too. We got big news, and we didn't get a chance to jump on it the first couple of weeks because we were getting back into it. But if you didn't see it in the Daily Times earlier, Maryville Christian School, after a vote by the Tennessee Secondary Schools Athletic Association, TSSAA, will be joining the association next school year. And for that big jump, we thought it'd be a great idea to bring on athletic director Brian Turbyfield, and he's joined us. And he's brought his assistant, who's also a familiar face. And, Coach, I can't say we were expecting this news. We've always just kind of thought Maryville Christian Independent wanted to be there, and this seemed to come a little bit out of right field, but it feels like a great move.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've been working towards for several years. It's always been our goal, always been our intention. And, you know, after, you know, having a lot of discussions, reviewing some things, having conversations, you know, we felt like this was the good time to make the transition, and we've got a full year to prepare for it and stuff like that. So we're really excited about the move for next year.
And go ahead, for people who may not know the faces, go ahead and introduce your assistant here. That you just told me you put him on the spot recently.
Yeah, so this is Stephen Hudson. He's our high school girls basketball coach and then also our assistant athletic director. So me and him are, you know, full-time in our athletic department, trying to make it operate as smooth as possible, and he does a phenomenal job. So I'm excited to have him on board as well.
So if when a home game's on, you're AD while his team's playing, and he's AD while your team's playing?
Yeah, well, it's a little unique in basketball season because he's coaching high school girls, I'm coaching high school boys, so we kind of have to go to our administrative team and have them help us out during high school basketball games. But all the other seasons, either one of us or both of us are there. So.
And again, Caleb, I feel bad because I'm calling Josh out so many times today, but Josh wrote the story for the paper, and he said that the new director of schools kind of brought this, got behind and pushed to.
Yeah, I mean, and even our previous head of school, he was 100% in support of this. We just wanted to make sure we made the decision in the right time. But our new head of school, Dr. Burris, he came here from a large school that he grew from around the size we are now to about 750 students. So his background's in growth, and he recognized that, you know, this decision and this step for our athletic department really helps take our school and our athletic department specifically to the next level. So, you know, with conversations with him and our school board, everybody was on board and was excited about it. So we wanted to, you know, go ahead and get the process started and get it out there so that we could be ready for next year.
So how many are in the high school at Maryville Christian? How many students are we looking at?
Yeah, so 9 through 12 on-campus students, we have around 100. So, you know, obviously compared to the public schools around here, that seems like nothing. But, you know, we're proud of those students and those student athletes. And, you know, we have plans for growth. So we're excited about that and ready to head in that direction.
Well, how many different sports do you offer at Maryville Christian?
So we offer quite a few. In the high school, in the fall season for high school, we offer cross country, girls soccer, volleyball. In the winter season, we have boys and girls basketball and cheer. Right. In the spring, we've got baseball, tennis, boys soccer, track and field. I think that's everybody.
Pretty much everything except for football,
softball,
golf, and softball.
Yeah.
Pretty varied program.
Yeah. So we have tons of offerings, and our teams compete at a high level even now, even though we aren't TOSAA. We play tons of public schools, a lot of the schools that we will be playing within our district next year. So that's why we feel like we've done a good job of preparing our student athletes, our families for this transition where it's not going to be a big culture shock, we feel like, for our families and students.
What schools should be in your district next year?
So our district, it's going to be interesting to see what they do because it currently has 13 schools in it. Okay. And with us adding, that'll make it 14. So that's an extremely large district. You would think that they would split it up in some way. But it has schools like Grace Christian, CAK, Lakeway, Concord, First Baptist Academy, Clayton Bradley, Maryville Apostolic, Berean Christian, Honora Academy. I mean, it's a very large district and a little bit of travel, but that'll be a lot of fun too. So.
So, and I'm going to say this because, Caleb, I don't know how you feel. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. But every time I've been over to Maryville Christian, the reason I ask about enrollment, the facilities do not match up with what we expect from a 100-student population. They're phenomenal. The gym is phenomenal. The soccer field's phenomenal. The baseball field is great.
Yeah.
Always, every time I've been out there, it's green and in good shape. You know, it feels like the facilities are present for you all to just step right in without having to do a lot.
Yeah, we've got decent facilities for the time being, but we've also got plans for major improvements. We just did a door wrap on our gym, so while that's a small step, we're really proud about it. We're planning to put new wall pads in our gym to get our branding consistent in our gymnasium. And then we've also got about $25,000 to $30,000 of improvements that we're planning on doing to our baseball field this year. We received a large donation the other day, so that was a step in the right direction for our baseball program, and then improvements for our soccer field as well. But our school enrollment is around 375 for on-campus students, 350, 375. So, yeah, I mean, we've got good facilities, but we want to make them the best that we can. So, you know, we're not complacent with what we have, and we're excited for the improvements that we plan on making here soon.
Well, Coach, you know, it's always been the thing when we talk with you guys. It's been about we're gearing up. We're playing these public schools. We're playing these schools around us, but our mission's in Atlanta, where you've been playing in the national tournament. Are you prepared for one last year of that?
We are. We've been ready to take the jump. Timing has always been everything that we've been concerned about as far as athletes and competition level. We've always been able to hang with the public schools around the area. I've personally lost 5 starters this past year, so it might be a little bit rocky for the next few years, but we're looking forward to it. As Coach Turbyfield said, the facilities, and y'all can keep talking about that if you want. Let all the other athletes in the area realize that, you know, because a lot of people walk into our gym and realize that school wasn't even there, and then you see a nice gym and you're like, wow. So we're always looking for those fringe athletes from maybe Maryville, Alcoa, and William Blount, and all those people that, hey, if you're riding the bench, you might get some playing time over with us. So we're looking forward to that competition with that. One last year with NACA, and then we'll be looking forward to districts and maybe regions once in a while.
So is this the year you hang out there for the coaches? If you're going to win the championship, this is the year. This is it, because after that, the goal's going to Murfreesboro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the nice part is we've had our fair share of those NACA championships. They've been fun. They're nice end-of-season trips, but we want to compete on the level with everybody else around us.
Yeah, because, you know, without being in TSSAA, I think people, when they would walk into that gym, would be surprised. There are banners in that gym, and they are national championship and national tournament banners that you all have played in and won over the years. And I've always enjoyed some of the looks I see from fans when they first walk in the door for the first time when you all are playing somebody new. I've always thought that was kind of the thing because they look over to the right side and they're just like, huh, don't know if we should have scheduled this one.
Yeah, we do have those games where they don't realize who they're playing. You can tell the teams that don't pay attention to film when they walk in the gym, and they're wondering why we're doing what we're doing. And we're big gym rats and then film nuts, so we know what's coming and we know what to expect, and we try to prepare our teams the best way possible, because we do know we have a slight disadvantage when it comes to student size and things of that nature. So we have to take advantage of every opportunity that we can.
For more of a, I guess, putting your coach's hat on instead of the AD, but just going to this TSSAA, classification, do you feel like it'll be easier to draw athletes out, maybe put more spotlight on the program? And then also, how do you balance going from maybe motivating a team to just play games independently versus, next year you'll have to be, hey, if you beat this team, you might be competing for a region spot.
Yeah, that's what we've talked about that I think will really be exciting. First of all, from the outside perspective, anybody that walks in and asks now, are you a TSSAA school, we can say yes. So, if you have a family that's interested in Maryville Christian School and they're serious about athletics, that's a big check off for that box. So we knew that was a big deal. But then, the competing every night, that's going to make it so much more fun for our student athletes of knowing, hey, depending on this game, that might be the difference in us being able to host the very first district tournament game in our gym. And, if you've been to our gym before and it's a good crowd, it's a really fun environment to play in. So, that's stuff that I think will motivate our students and get them excited of, with NACA, it doesn't really matter what we do in the regular season, but now, yes, every time we step out on the field, the court, whatever venue, that it matters how we do on a nightly basis, so that it adds that extra level of motivation. I think our student athletes will respond really well to that.
So if I have you put your AD hat back on for one last question here, because Mike just spent 20 minutes on a rant earlier today about some of these colleges and their scheduling, but for you guys, your scheduling, did it just get a whole lot easier or a whole lot harder?
It saved me hours upon hours upon hours of work. That's probably one of the things I'm personally most excited about as the athletic director is, now we don't have to worry about, you know, people not texting me back or just refusing to schedule where we're in the same district, so we're required to play each other. So, yeah, it's going to save me hours of work, but it'll be really good because, you know, we'll get to play against schools that are near us and similar, like-minded size and stuff like that we should be playing on a yearly basis that we may not be now. Our kids will get that opportunity now.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it. So I appreciate you guys coming in and visiting with us this morning. And like I said, I think it's congratulations are in order with the decision. I'm sure the vote made you all breathe a sigh of relief. So, again, thanks for coming in. Once you get to the season, we're going to want you to come back with some players.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Depends on the record if I want to come back.
So do you want to be on the preseason list? Is that what you're telling me?
That might be a better idea.
All right. Okay, we can arrange that. We'll talk. Right. But again, guys, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Okey-doke, time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd's Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sportspage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. And Donnie Moore, I'm going to turn it back over to you for some sports headlines.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
I've got a few of them here, so let's get right to them. Our sports headlines for the week are always, as always, brought to you by Fast Signs. Pretty good NFL game on last night. The Bolts beat the Chiefs 27-21 in a late night game.
Yep.
Philadelphia Eagles won Thursday night's game versus Dallas 24-20. The Cowboys won in the court of public opinion, however, before the game was even underway. During warm-ups, Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter expectorated, shall we say?
Expectorated?
Yes.
Is that how you
on the uniform of Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott and was summarily tossed from the game prior to the first snap.
Oh, that's one way to start the season.
No kidding. Man.
So spitting is now expectorated.
Well, we can call it.
Hey, imagine if you.
There's a lot of slobber coming out of that one.
Imagine if you were a betting person and put him in one of your things.
Oh wow!
Is that not going to be a prop bet the rest of the season?
I'm sure you're right.
If he's getting tossed before a game.
Is he going to spit on anybody else?
How many games suspension do you think he'll get?
I bet not any games.
I don't think.
You don't think so?
I don't think.
No,
since
he missed the whole game, I bet they'll just fine him.
Yeah,
I think he'll get a 2-game.
I think he'll get a 2
Well,
game.
I don't know.
Didn't they tweak the rules about that during COVID?
Pretty lame.
He sells tickets, so you got to remember they got to make money.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, that's a former Georgia player too, so
correct.
He might have left the game and sped home.
Well, he got in some trouble there, didn't he? He was in
Now-
an accident.
Now I understand why he did
fatal
it.
accident.
Now it connected all the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spit on the guy before the game even started, and you would think if a guy's showing you up, you'd spit on him during the game, but before the game started, no, that's a bad place to start, isn't it, Tony?
Well, here's one better, Mike. What if you just sack him during the game?
Yeah.
You know, make a play.
I think you're right. I think he'll get a 2-game suspension.
So.
He could.
Yeah,
it could very easily. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the ninth inning of Thursday's Yankees at Astros game, an 8-4 win by the Yanks was delayed by a controversy surrounding the bat of Astros outfielder Taylor Trammell. After Trammell doubled in the bottom of the ninth to give Houston 2 on with no outs, New York manager Aaron Boone requested an inspection of Trammell's bat because of a discoloration on the bat's barrel. The bat was inspected, confiscated, and will be further examined by Major League Baseball officials. Trammell's double off the wall was not nullified.
I know what was wrong with that bat, Coach Ierulli. He spit on it before he got it.
He excoriated, or whatever.
He expectorated.
Yeah, changed the color of it.
There we go. Well, approximately 4 months after the Indiana Fever opened the season with a convincing 35-point win over the Chicago Sky, superstar Caitlin Clark announced Thursday that her season is done because of nagging injuries. Clark went on to say, and this is a quote, she said, "I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling."
Well, she missed a lot of games this year, didn't she,
Sure
with
did.
injuries?
Well,
You know
what kind of injuries did she
It
have?
was a groin injury.
She had a pulled groin.
So I was going to bring it up, especially for the,
That was
for
the main
Tony
one,
and
I think.
Mike. Like, those injuries usually don't go away. That's like a career thing, isn't it?
They're hard. They're hard to heal.
I know some players on ESPN were saying they still have groin pain today from when they had that injury from their playing days.
It's a difficult injury to heal.
Yeah, I'm glad Ray Trail's not here.
Let's move on now.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's move on now.
We thought Amari Cooper was returning home to the Raiders after signing a 1-year deal with Las Vegas last week, but alas, it isn't to be. Cooper has informed the team that after 10 seasons, the veteran wide receiver no longer has the desire to play and intends to retire. The former American League player was selected number 4 overall. American League, is that
American League baseball?
He's selected number 4 overall by the Raiders in the 2015 NFL Draft and subsequently played in Dallas, Cleveland, and before heading on to Las Vegas then. So, he's going to retire. He's decided he's had enough football. No longer desires to play.
I tell you, and that's, whenever you get to that retirement
When
stage,
you
but
get to
especially
that
football,
point,
you
yeah.
know whether I've seen whether it's in college or pros. I mean, when you just feel like it's not there anymore, it's time to walk away.
I'm getting that way with yard work. I get up every morning and look at that yard out there, and I just don't know whether I want to. I'm ready to retire from it. Yard work. What do you think?
I have the
ready
same,
to hang them up.
I have the same issues too, and that's why I have someone do it for me.
I hear you, buddy.
Can't get a relative, but
well, 2 legendary
The real
boxers.
reason you ask for grandchildren, right?
That's right.
Yeah. 2 legendary boxers have ventured out of retirement and agreed to a match sometime in the spring of 2026. Former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson and former welterweight king of the ring Floyd Mayweather have both signed contracts for the upcoming bout. The exact date, location, and rule set are still to be determined.
That's why they call him Money Mayweather.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When he sees the dollar sign on that contract.
Sign here. The 2025 class of the Naismith Hall of Fame will be enshrined tonight in Springfield, Massachusetts, and the members of this year's class are legends of the sport. NBA players Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and the 2008 U.S. Olympic men's basketball team are on the docket. Also honored in the 2025 class are Maya Moore, Sue Bird, and Sylvia Fowles, and that's a historic first. 3 women in the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
I love it. Yep. Colton Herta is leaving the NTT IndyCar Series to become a test driver for the Cadillac Formula One Series, as Mike mentioned earlier, and he'll be replaced at Andretti Global by veteran driver Will Power for the 2026 season. Mike, do you think that's good moves for both drivers? Power will switch from Chevy to Honda.
Well, I think, as far as Will Power is concerned, he was with a great team with Penske.
He was, yes.
17 years with that team, and now he goes to Andretti Global, which is Andretti Global and Penske and and Ganassi are really the three top.
They are
the three top teams in IndyCar, but I don't know. Will has been so successful in the Penske organization. It's going to be real interesting to see how this switchover goes with him. But he's still got a little bit left. You know, he led that race down in Nashville last weekend, and he had a bad pit stop, and it cost him. And he was penalized, and he had to go to the back of the field, which that was pretty much the end of his day. Yeah. As far as Colton Herta, I think this has been in the works for quite some time. They're looking for an American driver in Formula One. Cadillac's going in. Andretti Global is involved in that deal in respect, and so he's going in. But it's not a sure thing that he's going to be chosen, because they already have a team for next year in place. So he's going to a testing situation, and he's going to have to prove that he's worthy. And I
think he's got the talent.
Yeah, he has, but he's had some off years.
He has,
in IndyCar the last several years.
Consistency's been a little lacking.
It's been a little lacking. So, but there, up until the last couple of years, he was the man. That they felt like would go in as the first American an American driver, not the first American driver in Formula One, because there's been several, and of course Phil Hill way back in the day won the World Driving Championship as an American, but they need an American in Formula One and an American team, so we'll see how it plays out with him. I wish him all the luck in the world, but I think he's got a little bit of an uphill battle. He'll be well compensated. He'll be well compensated as a Formula One driver, so there'll be no concern there.
I think when you look at Cadillac's F1 team too, they didn't go. It looks like they didn't go with a young driver, partially because they're waiting on the American that they want to have on that team, because they went with two guys who have a lot of experience.
If it was me and I had my money in a Formula One team right now, and I had a pretty good team with the finances going, I'd be signing Alex Palou, but that's just me. He's a Spaniard, but I'd still, he'd be my man. He's hot. I mean,
you think he'd want to leave?
Yeah, well, they pay a lot more in Formula One, and I'm sure
you get to live in Monaco too.
I think he would leave for Formula One, but
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
He's done a great job. This year he just outperformed everybody. I mean, it was just like, he qualified right up at the front within a few laps. He's out and it's over.
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
On this day in sports, September the 6th. Boy, time's flying by, isn't it?
I know.
Goodness.
Getting closer to Christmas.
Yeah. 1943, Carl Scheib becomes the youngest pitcher in the American League history. He pitched at 16 years and 8 months old in the American League.
Wow.
Who did he pitch for?
Goodness. I'll have to do some research on that. I didn't include that, but he did. The American
League. It wasn't the National League.
1953, Roy Campanella sets the single season record of 41 home runs hit by a catcher.
Yeah, what a great player
he was. Great. He sure was. 1954, the New York Yankees use a record 10 pinch hitters in one game.
Really? Yeah. There wasn't anyone left on the bench after that.
Apparently not. The manager must have pinch hit too. 1960, American Rayford Johnson scores 8,392 points and takes the gold in Rome, an Olympic record in the decathlon.
Yeah.
Great runner. Great decathlete. 1972, the Summer Olympics resume in Munich, Germany, after a massacre of 11 Israeli athletes by a terrorist organization.
I remember that well.
I do too, Tony.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah. Absolutely horrible.
And that there were some great performances and a lot of controversy in that Olympics. Remember the United States basketball team was defeated by the Soviet Union.
Cheaters.
Questionable replay, so to speak. And then I think Mark Spitz, won all the gold in the swimming event.
That's right, 72. Won 7 gold.
Yeah.
But you're right, they cheated, those dang Russians.
Yeah.
Need to bomb them.
1980, United States college football had the longest streak to end at 50 games for McAllister College of St. Paul, Minnesota. They had a losing streak of 50 games.
Ooh.
And won one on today. I don't know who they beat, but I have to figure they go back and look at that one. 1982, the Pirates retire Willie Stargell's number 8 jersey.
I remember going to baseball clinics because I grew up in Bradenton, Florida.
Yeah.
And now it's the winter home. Yeah.
He's good.
Stargell and Clemente were going to baseball clinics with them.
1986, Michael Spinks TKO's Stefan Tangstad in the 4th for the heavyweight title. So, he's a pretty good boxer, Michael Spinks. 1995, Cal Ripken Jr. plays his 2,131st game, breaking Lou Gehrig's record.
Yeah, he was
Iron Man.
Great
Both
player.
Yeah.
I remember going and watching him play. We would go when I coached in Pennsylvania. We would go down and watch Baltimore play at the stadium, and every time he comes out to plate, place went wild over him.
No doubt. 1996, Orioles first baseman Eddie Murray hits his career 500th home run on this date.
Yeah, big day.
He could kill it. 2024, jumping up to just last year, the Eagles defeat the Packers 34-29 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the first NFL game that played in the Southern Hemisphere.
Not happy because I'm a Packer fan.
I know that. Birthdays
Cheaters.
on 9/6. We had one of significance today, 1972, born on this day. Eric Zier, NFL quarterback for the Browns, born in Pensacola, Florida.
For the quarterback for the Browns.
Quarterback for the Browns.
God bless him.
A couple of deaths on this date. September 6, 2012, Art Modell died, the owner of the Browns and the Ravens. He was 87, born in 1925. Art Modell. And in 2020, passed away on this day, Lou Brock, the Hall of Fame outfielder for St. Louis. Dies at 81, born in the year 1939.
What a great player.
Oh, no doubt.
People forget that he started off with the Cubs. The Cubs traded him to St. Louis.
That's a bad trade, wasn't it? That's a bad trade.
That's a bad trade. Bad trade.
I would think so.
Bad trade.
Well, that's it for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner.
This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Ierulli and Caleb Jarreau of the Daily Times, sports writer.
Good crew here today.
Yeah, we've got everybody here, and it's like a family reunion.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
and you let me come back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You keep winning, we're going to have you on every week, boy.
keep beating those Christians. Yeah. It doesn't matter what state they're from.
Yeah. Hey, Caleb, last Saturday, Tennessee beat Syracuse 45-26, and I thought it was a really impressive win for the Volunteers. First game out of the box, there was a lot of question marks, and the big question mark was the Vol quarterback situation with Joey Aguilar coming in. But he was 16 for 28, 247 yards, and 3 touchdowns. By golly, I don't know how you feel, but I felt like he checked all the boxes coming out of the gate.
Yeah, I think we didn't see Nico Imaliava throw the ball around that much all year, I feel like, last year. And we saw Joey Aguilar in his first game, 73-yard bomb to Braylon Staley, really showcased that. And, a good thing I like about him is you can tell he's a veteran guy because he puts his receivers or tight ends or running backs in positions to succeed. But at the same time, either a Tennessee player's catching the ball or it's going out of bounds and it's going to be incomplete. Yeah. So I think that was good. Another thing, too, is he did throw a couple balls high, but no overthrows down the field like we saw, the last 2 years, which if you overthrow a guy, nothing can happen. But if you underthrow him, you can draw pass interference like we saw against Syracuse. Your wide receiver can work back and catch the ball, or, they can bat it down. So I think all in all, it's a lot of good. And, mixing that with the running backs and the offensive line playing good, the offense was rolling.
Yeah. I think it was just a big sigh of relief that Aguilar came out and played well because of all the turmoil that was happening since spring when the previous quarterback left, and it was just like, whoo, I think we got the guy.
Not nearly the sigh of relief that Aguilar had after that game and watching his teammates that could have been out at UCLA get pounded in their game out there. That was the big sigh from Aguilar that he's here and not out there.
That's right. It worked out great for him and all that. Yeah. And it was sort of like justification for Tennessee fans seeing how bad UCLA
and
played.
We played that game here last week when you all were doing other things. And
yeah, we were enjoying ourselves.
Donnie and I were here working the hot microphones, and we played what is more likely, which I know is one of Coach Ierulli's favorite games. Yeah. But I gave Donnie the question, which quarterback is more likely to throw for 250 yards? Is it going to be Aguilar or is it going to be Nico? And when you look at the stats, Donnie was right. He didn't quite get to 250, did he? He was like 247, 237. But it was very close.
Yeah, we'll round it off.
And I said then that if that were to be the case, that Tennessee fans would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
And what I say this week is, well, now that everybody else has a game of film on Joey, so let's see what happens in a week or two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, you mentioned the offensive line, no sacks.
Mm-hmm.
No sacks.
With 4 new starters.
Yeah, and then you look at the defense front, they had 5 sacks. 5 sacks on the defensive front, which is impressive. And I think what was impressive with Aguilar is that, he missed a few passes, but, he was consistent with the short passes, and then he hit the long ball, which is good. I just thought it was an outstanding opening game. Now my question is, Caleb, taking that game away, has it changed your feelings toward the season? I know I had them about 8-4. I'm going to probably have to see a little bit more before I adjust my 8-4, but did it change your thinking on the season?
I think with the way the schedule's set up, good or bad play on Saturday probably wouldn't have changed where I'm at, because I'm in the same camp as you. I think 8-4 or 9-3 is probably where they'll land, just because your biggest opponents are Florida, Alabama, Georgia, which right now you can probably chalk up as 3 losses. If they go out and win one of those games, all of a sudden you're talking a 10-win season. But just with how the schedule's set up, with how top-loaded it is with talent, with the trip to Florida and then Alabama and Georgia, which Alabama didn't look good, so who knows. And then you mix that in, like you have Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Like, those teams aren't going to be very good this year.
And I'll throw in Oklahoma if they beat Michigan today. I might want to throw them in the pot.
That is true. that might be a 4th loss or a 3rd loss. But, I don't think it changes much. I think it obviously raises excitement for everybody and fans included. And, for me personally, I'm just, as somebody who has to watch every snap of every game, I'm happy the offense looks a little bit interesting compared to last year when it wasn't. So I don't change much. I think there's still some questions, like you mentioned. Like your wide receivers, yes, they played good, but they were still dropped passes, and you wonder what happens when you get against an SEC opponent. And Joey was high on some of his throws as well, which messed up the timing or it resulted in incompletions. And then we haven't mentioned the defense, but they're banged up. And then even when they were, fully healthy for a first drive or 2 against Syracuse, there were still holes in that defense as well that kind of raised concern. Yeah. So I definitely wouldn't go right off a 10-win season, but I'm still probably in the same boat as I was.
Coach, I know you can't look at these things, but they did have the defensive score. Tennessee did have the defensive score. And then they had another play that set them up for a reasonably easy touchdown.
Correct.
You take those 2 plays away, and you're 31-26.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, those plays were big, and in this football game, the way it turned around. And I guess Syracuse, scored late, and maybe it wasn't that. But
and remember, Syracuse is a solid team. I mean, they had I think 10 wins last year, something like that.
10-2.
Went to a bowl game. They lost some players, but it's it wasn't just a weakling coming in the opening game. It's a solid football program right now. They brought in a new quarterback. But it was for an opening game, and we talked about it earlier. It's not one of the top market programs in college football, but still, it was a good, solid win.
You weren't going to Southern Miss to open your season,
right? Yeah, but it's the big question mark I think was how was the new quarterback going to be able to respond?
Yep.
And I think everyone left.
Feeling good.
Yeah, feeling
pretty good.
Yeah, bye, Nico.
A couple people said that he looked a little like Hendon Hooker out there in his first appearance. So
he had more yards than any debut quarterback. He had more yards than any debut quarterback under Josh Heupel at Tennessee. And you mentioned the 5 sacks. As good as Tennessee's defense was last year, they didn't have 5 sacks a single game last year. So,
and I'm going to go with that offensive line you mentioned because that's what I was concerned when we got a pull that morning with the five-star freshman that was supposed to start, and they shifted the whole line because you're moving one guy from one tackle to the other, and we're putting in a second-string guard to fill another spot. And I mean, it was not the line they'd practiced with all week, and they go out and have a phenomenal first game, a strong performance. Which, with that many new guys out there, that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah. And some of the guys that are kind of banged up that we talked about earlier, going to play against East Tennessee, those guys are going to get another week of kind of recovering from the injury so that, they'll be hopefully full speed when they go into Georgia the following week.
Coach, you do this, I know Mike's got a question, but when you've got a game like this, and I don't know how many you have at Carson Newman where you feel like you're in an ETSU situation.
Well, this past game, yeah.
You've got a star guy you wanted to get in your first game.
Yeah.
He was banged up. He can't do it. Do you put him in? How long do you put him in? What's the decision factor that comes into play for a coaching staff when you want to get a guy on the field, but you don't want to get him hurt before your big game?
Right. I think in that type of situation, the player wants to play and coaches want to see him do something. So you might say, okay, we're going to let you play maybe the first quarter or a couple series. Just get yourself out there and running around a little bit. Then pull them off the field and say, okay, you got your first game in. You did pretty good. You got another good week to rehab to get yourself full strength by the second game. So I think that'd be our approach going into a situation like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary with Georgia week 3, but to your point, Marcus, I think it's kind of good that the offensive line played the way they did against Syracuse because you had, good center play from Sam Pendleton, which was a big question in the offseason, who was going to be your center. You slid Wendell Moy from Arizona over to right guard to help out your new right tackle, Jesse Perry, who played at a really, really, really small private school in high school and never pass blocked once. And he looked like a pass block professional out there. And then you've got Lance Hurd on the left side, and you mix in a new left guard. So I think, to your point, even if you still have questions about injuries, who's playing, who's not, it's good that you at least have a baseline from that Syracuse game that, hey, when you go against Georgia, it might not be the best, but at least we kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
On that front.
I think one of the spots on the team that you can look for under a microscope, so to speak, today and going on into the season is that secondary, and Jermond McCoy, their second-team All-American selection, he's been out with a torn ACL since last January. He may be back at the end of this month, and then they lost Ricky Gibson III in the Syracuse game. But with McCoy out, Colton Hurd in, 3 pass breakups in the opener, huh?
Yeah, and I think
next man up.
Yeah, and you mentioned, we don't know when Ricky Gibson is going to come back, if at all, and we don't have a timeline on Jermond McCoy. So now you got to rely on Colton Hood, who was really good at Colorado, but and to his credit too, you don't see a lot of transfers enter in the spring window. And I guess really transfer for culture reasons. But for him, it felt like, with Colorado and all the noise and everything, he didn't really want to be a part of that culture. And everybody at Tennessee talks about how, he came into Tennessee and was instantly a part of the team, wanted to be in the DB room, wanted to hang out with the guys, and didn't care if he was the starter or the fourth string. He was just happy to be there. And I don't think you get that a lot with the transfer portal anymore. So it's good for him that the players trust him and the coaches trust him. And he's going to have to be now because he's your only cornerback that's not a freshman, and he's got the most experience in that room. So like we talked about earlier, Mike, today will be a good test of, who in that secondary besides Colton Hood and freshman Ty Redmond has a pulse and knows what's happening, because when you get against Georgia, I can assure you that Kirby Smart and his staff will pick apart the weaknesses in that secondary and go right at them. Right. So you want to make sure you've got some safety blankets there.
Yeah. Let's leave Tennessee football and let's talk about some of the games that happened last week. Coach Ierulli, Ohio State dumped Texas 14-7. It was nice to see Woody Hayes on the sideline. He's not looking good. Not looking very good, but he was on the sidelines.
He's still hanging in.
He's still hanging in there.
Yeah, he only punched one guy.
Oh, he did. He had the pregame talk and everything.
Yeah, it was one right across like that.
14-7. He had to love it.
That was good. well, coming out of the game again, the whole conversation was about Manning.
Right.
Quarterback.
You expected points.
Well, the thing is, they're already saying, hey, he's a favorite for the Heisman. For the Heisman and all that. The guy hasn't played. I mean, he played very sparingly last year as a backup. Now they're talking about it, and he's the leading contender for the Heisman, and he just showed that, in his first game, that he was extremely average.
Yeah, and that's why you need East Tennessee State down there in Texas to play that opener, so you can keep that talk going down there, or maybe throw in an Austin Peay, or
maybe Grandpa Arch, Grandpa Archie was onto something when he said, "Hey, y'all need to pump the brakes because Arch probably isn't going to the draft this year." He knew, and you got to remember, it's kind of a red flag, Tony, that you didn't beat out Quinn Ewers for the starting job if you were a 5-star.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what he did.
We talked about that last year. Like, if he's so good, why isn't he starting?
Exactly.
Exactly right. And like I said, the media went nuts, as they usually do, is, he's a favorite for the Heisman. Well, heck, he hasn't done anything yet. And it was a backup last year.
Yeah.
And now you're saying he's a favorite for the Heisman? Give me a break.
My favorite was the Texas argument that maybe Ohio State is his Florida. And I'm like, that's kind of implying you're going to play Ohio State 2 or 3 more times, and he's only got, a season and 10 games left.
Yeah. I mean, let's see how he develops this year. He's going to be just I'm glad he's starting for Texas, but he needs to worry about just staying relevant for their offense right now.
We'll be back to talk some more college football, but it's time for a break. And when we return, we'll come back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Gotta say something about North Carolina.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, and this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here with Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, longtime sports writer Tony Ierulli, Carson Newman assistant football coach, and Caleb Jarreau, Daily Times sports writer. Coach Ierulli, before we get to North Carolina. We can't overlook Florida State's win over Alabama because of Brian Johnson. First of all, he would not be very proud of this in the least. Happy. But what a great win down there for the Seminoles after going 2-10 last year, and Alabama being a 14-point favorite and going out there and just completely dominating the game, 31-17. I think that was golly.
That's a job saver.
Alabama, 80 yards rushing. 80 yards rushing, Coach. They just dominated.
They
Alabama.
certainly did. And me growing up in Florida with both of my friends being Florida State fans and alums, I mean, it was a great win for Florida State. I mean, I was absolutely surprised how they dominated Alabama on both sides of the ball. And me and my family, most of us are Alabama fans. Yeah. I mean, we were just a shock seeing what we were seeing. Yeah. And it was obviously a great win for Florida State. Now, the thing is, then when they compare DeBoer with Saban, this is DeBoer's 4th loss against non-ranked teams out of 15 games. Yeah. And Saban only had 4 losses out of 250 games or something like that. Right. So I mean, he's not in a good place right now at Alabama.
Well, we joked last week that it was going to be either Bowden's ghost was going to come back in there and take care of things at Florida State, or they were going to make it ghost to DeBoer if they lost. One of 2 things is going to happen. Yep. And I think we're seeing what Donnie and I talked about, DeBoer is taking himself from a mild seat to a hot seat. But we've also seen Florida State, and I don't care if it stands up or not. I don't care if they lose the rest of the games this year. I think this win, they can put a little peg in that hole where it says we got left out of the playoffs because of Alabama 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen, obviously younger, but I've never seen an Alabama team just go out there and not be like the most physical team on the field. Even the Saban years when Alabama would lose games, it still felt like they were the.
I think a brick went through a window the last time I saw Alabama play.
That was a few years. Yeah, a few years. But like I said, I mean, it was a dominant performance by Florida State on both sides of the ball. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and you just kind of got done watching the game with your mouth kind of opened up. Saying, man, I can't believe what we saw.
This situation with Kalen DeBoer, he knew exactly what he was getting into. I mean, he was following a legend at Alabama.
Sure.
He could have stayed at Washington and coached forever. Coach Ierulli. He could have coached, but he made the choice, and if it's really tough, if you don't get off to a good start at a place like Alabama or a UCLA in basketball or an Indiana in basketball with that night stigma up there, it's tough to regroup.
It's like the old saying goes, like when after Bear Bryant retired, he says, you don't want to be the coach who followed the legend. You want to be the coach who followed the coach who followed the legend. And that's kind of what's going on right now.
But it happens everywhere. I mean, look what happened after Pat. I mean, you see that pattern everywhere. And you don't want to be the person after the legend.
That's right.
And to Marcus's point, how many times – I don't think we've ever seen a coach take over a program that was as dominant like Alabama was and then nosedive and ever pull it back up and kind of survive.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Alabama will, I mean, with the new age of college football and parity, I don't think they'll ever get to what Nick Saban was. But if you tell that to an Alabama fan, they'll call you crazy.
Of course they will.
Yeah. But remember, they lost to Vanderbilt last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 0 for 2 against the state of Tennessee.
I think Kalen DeBoer has either the same or more losses to unranked teams than Nick Saban does. And that's the thing. Like, Kalen DeBoer is a great coach and gets his team up and is a great recruiter and gets his teams up against good teams like Texas last year, but then loses to teams they should beat by 40.
Well, remember how flat they were in the bowl game. They came out that game completely flat and looked awful, and it looked like more of that against Florida State. They did not look motivated. They did not look like they were out there excited to be playing.
No, they didn't compete well.
Nope.
And that's all you can say. They did.
They're all saying now down in Alabama, we want Dabo.
Good luck with that.
They don't want
that. I think Dabo is going to learn from DeBoer's mistake and never leave Clemson.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Dabo, they played LSU and lost 17-10. Woody Hayes wasn't there, but he was watching the game on television. Another low-scoring affair at 17-10. But
I got handed to LSU. I mean, that was a great win for LSU. You go down to Clemson at night. Death Valley, the other Death Valley right there. That was a great win for LSU.
Yeah, sure
and both teams played hard, and it was just, LSU was able to come up with the plays.
LSU lost Bryce Underwood to Michigan and took all that NIL money he was supposed to make and bought a defense. Yeah. And it's turned out okay.
The other big game last week, Miami number 10 and Notre Dame number 6. Notre Dame went down to play that one, and the Irish lost 27-24. But I was looking at both of those quarterbacks, and I thought that was a really solid performance by both of those guys. Yeah. Carson Beck, was formerly at Georgia. He was 20 for 31 for 205
really
yards
well.
and 2 touchdowns. He really played well.
He sure did.
And then C.J. Carr up at Notre Dame, his first start, he was 19 for 30, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception. But I thought both quarterbacks, Tony Ierulli, I thought both of them played pretty well.
Yeah, they both played well. Both teams played well. And it was kind of really a classic. I thought it was one of the better games, and against 2 well-coached teams, and that was obviously a great win for Miami. But it showed that Notre Dame, is a pretty good program as well.
Yep.
The problem with Notre Dame is they only got maybe 1 or 2 ranked teams left on their schedule. And so, so they've got to be able to – I think they got Texas A&M here next week and maybe one more, and that's it.
Yeah, they got to go to Arkansas, which is always a tough place to go. Be a tough place to play. But really, their schedule is the top 2 or 3 weeks. Notre Dame's schedule, and then it gets a little bit easier.
For C.J. Carr's first ever college start, I think he's going to turn out to be a pretty good
He's
quarterback
got
for Notre
good
Dame.
blood. You know, I think his grandfather, I think, is Lloyd Carr. You know, coached at University of Michigan. That right, Coach Ierulli?
That's right.
So,
Caleb, let me ask you this: if you invite Florida State, Miami, and Clemson into the SEC, how many of them are going to say yes?
Florida State, Miami, and Clemson in the SEC.
Well, you know Florida State wants to after the playoff debacle, and I don't think Miami cares much. Clemson would put up a fight, I feel like.
Yeah, because
I think you'd have to get a North.
The ACC.
I think Clemson wants out of the ACC so bad they do it.
Really? Yeah. I mean, they were on the lawsuit with Florida State there for a second, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
So you might be onto something. Throw North Carolina in there.
It doesn't make any difference to Tennessee because they're going to go, hey, we got to have our traditional rivals on the schedule, so make sure we got Kentucky and Vanderbilt on our schedule. It don't matter who's in this league. Tennessee's always hollering, we want Kentucky and Vanderbilt to go along with Austin Peay and UT Martin. And
you don't want to watch Tennessee play Kentucky every year?
No.
That's a 2-hour drive for some good football.
Remember, ACC is the All-Coast Conference, so they got Stanford and
maybe Tennessee is such big rivals with Kentucky they should play twice a year.
Oh my gosh!
Home and away. Maybe once in the beginning of the year, once at the end.
Keep Kentucky on the basketball schedule twice, and the same with Vanderbilt. But please leave them off every once in a while on the football schedule. Let somebody else enjoy them for a while.
Oh man!
All right. Hey, let's talk about today's big games in the SEC. Ole Miss is at Kentucky, Coach Ierulli. That'll be interesting up there in the Bluegrass State. Lane Kiffin goes up in there, and the other big game, really big game, probably the game of the day, is Michigan at Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's going to be a
7:30 tonight.
7:30 game at night, and they're making sure that no one's stealing signals from Michigan up there, and it should be a very very good game.
Yeah.
Imagine me saying that.
And an up-and-coming program that's played at Kansas. Kansas is at Missouri, sort of what do you call it, a Midwest duel out there?
Yeah, that was a big game. You remember, I coached at Missouri for a couple of years when I was a young coach and all that, and that was just a great rivalry game. Missouri-Kansas, that was a long-running traditional rivalry game. Then it broke away when they split the conferences. But I'm glad that they're able to play that game back again.
Yeah. And Caleb, Vanderbilt heads to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech.
Remember
I think last year I think it went overtime, didn't it?
Yeah, and Virginia people or Vanderbilt people were offended that people called that win a rivalry or an upset and a rivalry and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure if whether Vanderbilt loses by 10 or wins by 3, they'll be talking about how they should be national champions.
Coach, if I'm Vanderbilt, I'm looking. This is a key game right here for them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, early. And, of course, they've got their quarterback back. They're one of the few schools that's got a returning quarterback.
Well, he won the lawsuit to give him more eligibility because he figured out that he could get paid more by staying in college than he would if he had NFL. He's not an NFL type of quarterback.
No, he's not.
Plus, him doing well. Hopefully, that way you keep his brothers out of jail again.
Well, think about it. I mean, given the state of things, he could be the most popular quarterback in Nashville.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
easily.
And a couple more Vanderbilt players have started a lawsuit, I believe, as well. So maybe they'll have more guys back next year.
Hey, a little unknown fact: Brett Fry, who's the head coach, who's the head coach at Virginia Tech. He started off his college playing career at Maryville College.
Sweet.
Oh.
He played a year at Maryville College, then he transferred up to like Buffalo State, something like that.
He's a Scott.
Arizona State's at Mississippi State. Coach Ierulli, I'm watching that one because the Vols have to go to Mississippi State here in the next few weeks and play down there. And
tough place to play.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. Arizona State will be a good opponent down there, and if they come out of that and play real well, that may be a game we need to watch. There a few weeks.
So let me see. Mississippi State's hosting Arizona State the week after they went to Southern Miss. And they didn't buy a win. It was a deferred revenue sharing agreement based on attendance over a 2-year series or some mythical BS like that.
Legal mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Tennessee went to like ETSU or UTC
or UT Martin?
I mean, or Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis is probably the most comparable one to Southern Miss, but people would throw fits.
It's a Liberty Bowl, so they're always going to.
Yeah.
Real quick. North Carolina.
Oh, I forgot.
North Carolina.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, Bill Belichick. Let's go with it. Go, Tony.
Best stat of the whole day. All right. The backup quarterback that came in to play for North Carolina at the start got injured. He's 24-year-old. Belichick's girlfriend, 24 years old. That's the best stat of the day.
There you go.
Who will North Carolina beat?
You got the whistle?
It's time.
It's time to go. And with that, Tony Ierulli, you just had the last word for this week.
Good job, and you're all saying thank God.
Hey, appreciate you guys being here. It's been fun today, and we'll see you on down the road, I guess, Tony. And,
somewhere down the road.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you next week, and Donnie and Marcus will see you next week.
We'll be here.
Blow that whistle, Donnie. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and all our GoTeez Sports Page crew, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.